Train to the Plastic Underground. Approaching the station, please stand away from the platform edge. Hey, what's up everybody? So last week, actually it was a couple weeks ago, Will, Adrian, and I went to the Star Trek set tour in Ticonderoga. It was very, very cool. It's a full set designed to look like you're on set of the Enterprise from the original series. So walking around, I saw a couple things I wanted to make, and this is what stood out, was these little desk communicators. These are pretty much on every desk and in every conference room. So I said, let's make this. So I am using some 5mm craft foam, and just cutting out this box and these triangles, and I have a full template that I made, so you guys can make your own if you are interested. These are very cheap, very easy to make. So I also cut out the little case that the switches will be in. That's also in the template. These are some little that thin piece is the part that goes on the bottom, and this of course is the back. The other part is this front detail piece. It's a 2mm panel piece. This is where the light goes. So I kept this project like simple, easy, and quick, so I did not add a light to this box, but it would not be that hard just to add a little white LED if that is the route that you want to go. The switches I found are on Thingiverse, and they are free. And I 3D printed a bunch of those, and I will use those in some other projects as well. But they're flat, so they don't like rock back and forth. I don't know what the original switches are and how hard they are to find. If you wanted a more like authentic switch that you'd be able to like flip on and off, but yeah. So this is just a static piece, and just looks really cool sitting on your desk or your display. So this little piece here goes on the bottom. This becomes your basically your bottom like framework, and you just attach both of the triangle parts to that on the front. And then once those are glued and tacked into place, you can start putting the back piece on. And then you can put the other side on. On the template, I also marked the angle that you should cut these. I cut all mine straight. This is kind of like my prototype. But a lot of these should be cut at an angle so that that top flat piece can fit on top a little better. I went through and cut these after they were all glued together so that they would fit a little more flat. But this 2mm detail piece gets glued on the front. Using contact cement like always. If you don't know what contact cement is, it works very well for EVA foam. You brush it on both sides of what you're gluing, and you let it dry, and when you go ahead and stick it together, it is a permanent bond. And then you can see how I had to cut that front that piece there so that this sits flushly. And then yeah, just go ahead and glue the front housing piece on here. There it is. There's the desk communicator all built and assembled. So I wanted to try this. This is some primer by FX. They have like some really cool paints and stuff that are designed specifically for EVA foam. The funny thing is that when as soon as I opened this and smelled the bottle, it smells exactly like Mod Podge to me. I've used Mod Podge a few times for sealing foam, and that's kind of exactly what it smells like. I don't know if it is exactly Mod Podge or if it's got a little bit other stuff in it, but works the same. Put 2 coats of that on, and now I'm putting a coat of this blue spray paint that I found. I bought this at Walmart. This is a pretty good blue. It ends up being pretty close. That's a hard kind of blue to replicate. The thing is that I always do this thing where I'm buying paint and I'm looking at the source material. Then I realize that like you're never going to be looking at the source material while you're looking at the thing that's painted. So it doesn't have to be 100% the same color. That's something that I struggle with, but yeah, it doesn't matter. So obviously, if that was like a dark blue, you would be like, well, it's not supposed to be dark blue, so just buy a light blue. So that's what I did. Going back over to the switch plate now, I cut this 2mm inside fill piece out, and I just went around and I glued that on the inside. I wanted the switches to sit up a little bit more. If I put that 2mm piece on the bottom, they would not have been flush to the top. So I just glued this onto the very bottom inside of the switch plate so that the switches could sit on top of that foam. And I also applied the same FX primer to the plate as well. So here's my switches off the printer. I already have gone through the wash. And then this is the part here where now I go through and I use a little file and just kind of file out the bottom edges. You always get this kind of like little like burn through that adds a little bit wider layer on the bottom of your prints just to help it stick to the plate. And yeah, so I just do that and I go through with a little bit of fine, like 150, actually I think that's 220 sandpaper, just to get some of the layer lines out and get some of the scratches of that file out. Then I go through and I prime these with some white. It's funny, right, that I printed these all out on black resin and then painted them white, but a lot of these are going to be a color that the white undercoat helps, especially the red and the yellow. One of them stayed black. I just polished it and that was it. So now I looked all over the place for like screen material, and what I've come to find out is that the screen is a speaker mesh, but I didn't want to pay for speaker mesh, so I had this little chunk of screen in the basement. This is some scrap left over from when I replaced the screen on my door. So I used a little bit of contact cement again here on this, brushed it on to both sides, and this is just a little thin piece of almost 2mm. It's like a 1mm foam. It's really cheap foam that you can buy at Walmart in like a bag. You get like a bag of them, and yeah, they're really thin and smaller for like little small craft projects, but they end up being a little bit thinner than 2mm. So I did that because I wanted a backing that gave it a little bit more weight than just gluing that screen in. Also, I didn't want you to be able to see through the screen into the internal casing of that that box. So that's why I did that. So then I just go ahead and trim the scrap screen off. So there is your screen finished, and then now I'm just using some black spray paint, just making sure that it gets a good coating, thin coating, just to hide that purple. That's really all I was trying to do. Used a little bit of silver, and I just kind of sprayed that from a distance, just kind of misting that on top, just to kind of keep some of the black, but add a little bit of silver highlights. And then, yeah, so then I used a little bit of super glue here, and then I glued that screen into place. I did not show painting the switches anymore. I don't remember why. Probably because I got involved and just started painting stuff, but they're pretty basic colors. It's like a red, a yellow. I used the same blue from the box for one of the switches, and I made a lighter blue with craft paint. There's a white one, and I used a tan spray paint that I had, and then gray acrylic paint. Just painted it with the color that comes out of the bottle, and then the black one is the 3D printed resin that I did not paint. I just sprayed it with a sealer. So yeah, that's it. Like I said, I did not put an LED in this light box part, so I just painted it white to replicate that look. And so yeah, that is it. That is how I made the desk communicator from Star Trek, the original series. And one thing I realized is that I should have made the disc, like I forget what they're called in Star Trek, but they're like the floppy disk that you stick in the desk. I should have made one of those, but I didn't want to cut a hole in my desk. So there you have it. That is how I made it. So I hope you make one, and I hope you like this video, and I will catch you guys next week when we make something cool.